A couple years ago, an ex-girlfriend of mine moved into an apartment across the street from me. She came up to me one day and told me her little brother had a new imaginary friend named Alex. Well, I had been living in that same neighborhood for about 5 years, and 3 years prior to her moving in, my neighbor Alex hung himself in that same house. I've never lived in a haunted house before, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her street had strange things going on too. A few homes away from her lived a man and his family when one night, one of his daughters went to bed with a bad headache. The next day, she was dead. She had passed away from an aneurysm. After the funeral, the family went away to get their minds off the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, my mom's brother, to check on their pets. My mom and dad, they were dating then, went to my uncle. My mother had heard there was a grand piano and she wanted to play it, and my dad was studying to be a veterinarian at the time. After entering the house, my uncle and father headed to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went to the piano on the ground floor. She was playing it when she felt something brush her ankles. She thought it was a cat that must have left the basement and walked past her. She kept playing and she felt it again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing. When she started playing again, she felt hands clasp her legs and grabbed them tightly. She dashed to the basement door, called my uncle and father, and waited for them. When they all walked outside, my uncle could tell that my mom was rattled and asked her what was wrong. She told him what had happened, and he turned white. He told her that the daughter who died used to play a game with her father. When he played the piano, she'd crawl underneath, grab his ankles, and push his feet up and down on the pedals. My father died in 1996, when I was 10 years old and my brother was 12. We slept in bunk beds, and my brother had an upper bunk, while I had the lower bunk. One night, I woke up in the middle of the night with someone softly caressing my head. I thought it was my brother and I ignored it. When I went back to sleep, the feeling returned. I got out of bed to confront my brother, but he was snoring quietly. I went back to bed, and the caressing began a third time. I never prayed so hard for my life. I prayed until sunrise the next morning. One time my husband and I had some friends over to eat pizza. One of my friends, who had always been very mystical, began to feel ill in the kitchen and excused himself to our bedroom. Once he was in the bedroom, he started to rock back and forth and giggle in a voice that made my hair stand on end. I ran out of the room, shivering with fear. My husband went in to check on him and soon returned saying our friend wanted to talk to me. I went into the bedroom where my friend walked up to me and with his eyes rolled back into his head, made a few little grunts and said, "This is my house." Then he knelt and kissed my feet, rubbed his hand on my belly, and motioned as though he was nursing a baby. When he knelt again, the phone rang loudly, and he came out of the trance. About a month later, I found out I was pregnant, which may explain the gesture he made. My father-in-law had died 8 months before the incident, which might explain the "this is my house." To this day, it still terrifies me. One night when I was 10, I was woken up by my bedroom door opening, followed by someone sitting on my bed. I felt my leg grazed and the bed sink under a person's weight. Thinking it was my mom, I opened my eyes to see an eyeless boy. He had black, empty sockets, about my age, sitting at the foot of my bed. He extended his hand, and it was a little box. I was startled, but I reached out. He pulled back. I reached out again and said, "Give it." Then I blinked, and when I reopened my eyes, he was gone. But the imprint of someone sitting on my bed was present. Fast forward 5 years. My girlfriend came over to do homework. After she finished, she took a nap while she waited for her parents. When they arrived, I tried waking her up. She opened her eyes suddenly, looking up at the corner where the wall met the ceiling. She pointed there and went back to sleep. I shook her again. She came to full consciousness and explained what she'd done. She said, "Up on the wall, I saw a little boy with no eyes. He was there in a Spider-Man pose staring at me." I freaked out and told her my story about the same kid. Fast forward another 5 years. I was with the same girlfriend, and we had a 2-year-old. We were living in my parents' house in my old room. My daughter started waking up at the same time every night, and she talked after a while. I noticed she had almost the same conversation every night. I playfully asked her once whom she was talking to. She said, "It's a little boy. He's nice. He's lost and looking for his mommy." My daughter's nightly conversation continued until we got our own place later that year.